Is that an AR-15?
That is an AR-15. Easier to fire than a handgun.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of scary.
That's why it's scary.
So the guy with the AR-15 in this video you just watched is Joe Wolf. Joe Wolf is the head political consultant for the Kati Hobbs campaign. Kati Hobbs is a Democrat who is currently running to be the governor of Arizona. You see, Kati Hobbs is one of those I just want common sense solutions to end gun violence types, which is code for I really want to ban them all, but I have to make myself look and sound like I'm being reasonable so I can get more votes. You see, in one breath, she'll say this: there seems to be no push to do anything different than we have, and that's to ignore bills we have put forward that would bring about common sense solutions to end gun violence. But when the Supreme Court struck down New York's concealed carry law that basically made it impossible for anyone in New York to get a concealed carry license, she wrote this: like the majority of Americans, Arizonans, and gun owners who support responsible and reasonable safety measures, I'm outraged at today's Supreme Court ruling as we continue to witness heinous killings across the U.S., including right here in Arizona. Leaders continue to refuse to take action, and the Supreme Court's decision makes protecting our communities that much more difficult. As a mom, I share the concern of my fellow parents who are living in fear every day that their child won't come home from school or that their family member won't make it home from the grocery store. We need common sense gun safety reform right now so that we can finally end these senseless acts of violence that are murdering our children and taking innocent lives. What does that have to do with their ability to conceal carry? So ask yourself, why would Kati Hobbs, who claims she just wants common sense solutions to end gun violence, be so angry about the Supreme Court saying that the people in New York should have the right to get a concealed carry permit, especially when Arizona doesn't even require a permit to carry? Banning people's right to carry a gun for protection isn't a reasonable common sense solution. It's extreme as hell. But that's what Democrat politicians like Kati Hobbs do. They feed you soft and reasonable words in order to get you to unknowingly vote for extreme anti-gun policies. I'm not making this up. Project Veritas literally exposes it with this video.
Here is her head political consultant, Joe Wolf, discussing Hobbs' position on gun control.
Would Kati support something like an assault weapons ban?
If she could, yeah. I mean, the problem is that's a federal issue, right?
Right. Or like if something came down in the states?
Yeah,
because I noticed like Kelly's kind of open about it, and I know Kati said like, oh, she supports gun reform, but I haven't heard anything explicit. Is that more just because, is there like a big difference between sort of the...
Policy-wise, no, between the people, so much as just because it's a federal issue, and like, you know, there's nothing she could do about it.
Right.
At least immediately, right? Instead of kind of advocating for it publicly, which is really more impactful once you're governor. So it's kind of like, in this state, unfortunately, it's crazy and love the gun, so we're not going to take the beat for it before she can do anything about it.
Oh, so if she mentioned it publicly, that would not be good?
I don't know. More likely than not.
Because I haven't been in Arizona too long, so I don't really know.
The state loves their guns. Like, he would never say something like Tom O'Halloran, congressman, Democrat, represents all this. Never.
Really?
Ever say anything like that.
Really? Because that's such a big issue here, huh?
Correct, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
Wolf tells our journalist that Hobbs would support an assault weapon ban if she could. This conversation happened following Wolf driving our journalist around with an AR-15 in the car.
The man just told you flat out, these Democrat politicians are anti-gun and want to pass extreme gun control laws, but know they can't say it out loud because it will hurt their chances of getting elected. But once they're in office, they can then start passing gun control laws like a gun control law passing party. That was literally the political consultant for Kati Hobbs' campaign saying this. The same guy rolling around with an AR-15 in his car and calling it a crowd controller.
Is that an AR-15?
That is an AR-15. Yeah, he had it broken down in the backpack when we started. He just pulled it out.
It can fit in a backpack?
Yeah, this folds down. It's a crowd control weapon. Easier to fire than a handgun.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of scary.
That's why it's scary.
So in short, it's okay for Kati Hobbs to be protected by an AR-15 as a crowd controller, but if a single parent mother who lives alone in a bad neighborhood wants an AR-15 to protect herself and her kids, Kati Hobbs would say, ha, not for you, peasant. These people are elitist. They are anti-gun for you, but pro-gun for themselves. They don't care about you and your safety. They just want power, and they'll say and do anything to get it. And then once they have it, they're not worried about you. That is until the next election. But people's memories are so short, they will have forgotten all of the false promises made during the last election and then fall for the same tricks all over again and then rinse, wash, and repeat. I'm convinced 15 to 25% of Republican politicians don't give two shits about the Second Amendment and believe it only pertains to haunting.
It's these Rambo AR-15 wielding yahoos who think they need a 100-round clip to kill a devil.
Behind closed doors, these 15 to 25% of Republican politicians are raging FUD monsters. They would come prancing out of the FUD closet in a heartbeat if they thought they could get away with it. But 99.999999999% of Democrat politicians are simply flat out anti-Second Amendment. And I keep proving it over and over and over again. But too many liberal gun owners out there keep falling for their soft words only to get beat over the head by their hard anti-gun policies and then start complaining when they realize the amount of restrictions placed on their 2A rights when they need them the most. You voted for it when you voted for these anti-Second Amendment Democrat stormtrooper politicians. Stop doing this. You're smarter than that. Stop blindly following one side or that side. Look at what they're actually doing. Stop just taking their words at face value. Who you vote for affects your ability to exercise your constitutional rights. So think about that the next time you listen to these politicians say one thing and then turn around and do another thing and then try to come back and say the same thing the next year. One question that I get all the time and still to this day is, what is the pew pew life? Well, the pew pew life is basically homage to the days when we were little kids playing with our little guns. Pew pew, pew pew, pew pew, pew pew, pew pew, pew. Now we're older. Now our guns and our pew pew guns make a lot more noise. But we never want to forget where it came from. So, the pew pew life. But it also stands for the people. The PPL. The pew pew life, the people. Because that's what the Second Amendment is about. It's about giving power to the people. And they do this by giving them the pew pew. I can't think of anything more empowering than having the most effective tool to protect you and your family. So help me spread this message by liking and sharing this video with everyone you know. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, because the Second Amendment, when it said militia, it wasn't talking about the government. It was talking about you. Also, if you want to know where to find the I'm the Militia shirt and merchandise, click the I'm the Militia link in the description section of this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, make sure you hit that bell symbol.